So today we're going to be doing an emphasis on a recap of essentially what we did today, how we managed things, what was the thought process that made the soup that we took a high probability one that I felt confident just slapping 5 micros on and holding it till the highest point, and any other questions that you guys might have. So let's begin. Ideally, when we started our day, like always, we always want to identify what the highest possibility of the draw could be. So we always hop on in our hourly time frames to get an idea of what we have done so far that could lead to something else. Now, at this very instance, we see, I think it was right around here, what we had done was that we actually took out some buy side, right? We took out some buy side internal right around here. It's right there. We didn't take out the external, but we did manage to successfully take out the... Oh no, that's a different day. It's right around here. Yeah, right. It was that wick right there. So this wick right here is what took out the buy side. That was what we were eyeing. Bam. Buy side is taken. So we immediately go to the structure that can suggest an alternative pathway to where price can go. We looked at the 5 minute. We saw that the 5 minute had a PD array right down here. So that was an extra confidence, like, oh, if price is going to go anywhere, it might come down right there. If we look at the 1 minute time frame at that very moment in time, we also did what you could say is a 1 minute 2022 model, right? We had a raid, and then we followed through with a shift, and then a retracement all the way to this fair value gap and TMSO, which is where we did our first short. Now the thesis behind this first short was simply that we were going to do continuation to then land here and potentially even lower towards midnight, because we had the idea based on the high time frames, right, or everything that was kind of dictating that the highest probability at that moment was to go towards the highest potential chance of delivery with the current structure at hand. Now, ideally, whenever you're engaging, you want to have a framework for both sides. You want to try and identify which side is more probable and which side justifies the greater probability for it. Okay? You don't want to just be like, oh, I see shorts, so I'm only going to look at shorts. No, you want to have like, okay, I see shorts, but if price wanted to be bullish, what am I seeing that could justify that actually this bullish setup is a lot more probable than the bearish setup that I'm seeing or that I want to take right now. After you do, that's how it helps me at least be a bit more nimble with my choices. You see that after we took the short, we were in profit for a bit, but then price invalidated my short idea. I wasn't married to the idea that we were going to continue lower. No, I saw the probability. Okay, if we took out this low, we didn't tap to my PD array, but we did take out the low. We immediately shot up to this place higher and took out this high with a body close above. This is a bullish 2022 model. We can slap along on TMSO. And that's what we did. We slapped along. We ended up making a good chunk of points. Now, with everything else, right? Same sort of methodology. We wait for the continuation of the trade. Trade failed. Oh well, nothing that can be done, right? We had our management. We had our stops at break even. Just one of those things that, okay, we got stopped at a break even. Whatever. Always never married to a bias. We're always trading the moment, what price is telling us in the moment. Give me a second. Okay, so right after that, we knew a Q3 reversal was in play. We wanted to take shorts, but unfortunately, price started to flush down too fast, too firmly. Now, this question became like, okay, At any point that we really slap, we could be chasing the move, which is why for me it was imperative that I need to see certain PD arrays fail first before I attempted to get in. Because let's say, right after we took out this sell side right here, there's definitely a chance that price is going to now pump back up here and potentially inverse this. And that would be a really bad loss if we had entered short around here trying to chase it. But right here we had a bullish PD array, and this is what I'm talking about, that you want to try and frame both sides. If I'm trying to frame a bullish outcome, then obviously for the bullish outcome we need to see this part be absolutely respected, especially after taking out liquidity, because then that could definitely lead to this. But the moment that this failed right here, that's telling me that okay, now the higher probability is definitely the draw that it's trying to seek. And at that very moment it was New York Open and midnight, which is what gave us the confluence to enter the trade right here for that quick move down, where we secured a nice chunk of points and made back our loss. So that way, you see how nimble we're being? We're framing both directions, we're playing the moment, but we're also using the invalidation of both scenarios to maximize towards the draw. Exactly what we did here was what we did here. For our short, we waited till the short was absolutely invalidated before flipping. For this, we waited for the longs to be absolutely invalidated before joining the short move down towards the draw. Ideally, if you're missing a move, or if you're trying to catch a move, and you're not feeling super confident on it, that's why it's good to wait for certain invalidations of certain things. And it's good to have a framework for both sides. Because if I know, like, okay, I'm still looking for longs, but if this failed, where's the next area that I can look for a long for? Well, I don't see much in the 1 minute, but if I go to the 5 minute, nothing there either. But if I go to the 1 hour, oh, wait a minute, we have a 1 hour fair value gap. Actually, a 1 hour BPR right here with NWalk. So if I wanted to go long, I would want to go long in this area. And that area happens to confluence where we actually hit. Now, remember the analogy of how everything's super fractal, right? So the ignition of a high time frame move is most often going to be a small time frame move. Now logically, we do have this large area in the high time frame, but what is there in the small time frame that can really ignite it? Well, we have this liquidity right here that matches exactly with midnight. That's the area that has higher probability of igniting. So what was the thought process for the long? Why did I feel like going long there and heavy, well, not heavy sizing, but normal sizing, full sizing, and holding it till we pushed up higher? Well, since we had such a strong confluence in the hourly, the prediction was that we were going to push down here in the hourly candle to tap midnight and then wick up, respecting not only NWalk, but respecting the BPR as well. So we were going to respect multi-time frame things to create that ignition point to shoot up towards the hourly draw of liquidity, which I assume if we were in a normal trading day, we would have pursued this high, but because it was holiday, it didn't have enough juice to go there, so it just kind of pushed as high as it could. That was the confluence right there. For the entry specific, you guys saw that I didn't exactly slap midnight upon the tap. I waited a bit because I wanted to see how far I was going to respect. So the moment that I saw this wick and I saw the next candle, I slapped it right around here and we held that trade towards the very top or the highest probable areas. So an idea, like we say, or at least when I'm trading the 10 a.m., right? We're trying to catch the 4-hour expansion. Here, what we caught was the 1-hour expansion. We were trying to calibrate at what point was the 1-hour candle going to reach or going to manipulate before expanding towards the draw that it was seeking. So we waited for it to manipulate towards midnight and then distribute towards its draw. Now I didn't expect it to be this strong. Like, this was quite impressive, but also quite cool. That just straight up ripped to our highs. But that's ideally how you want to manage through all of those scenarios right there. And I'd say that would be the recap of the trading session that we had. Any questions? What's your question, Khalil? Oh, for sure. My recommendation is, like I say, always measure the volatility. If you measure the volatility and you see that we're moving through small, tight ranges, like let's say not a lot of points, you could actually size in a bit higher than how you usually do. So, for example, this is why for me, I was like, okay, I'll be taking 5 micros here, I'll be taking 5 micros there, instead of my usual 2 to 3 first, because the range makes it plausible that, like, okay, right here, for example, I entered 5 micros. If I was wrong and price closed above below midnight, I'd lose 8 points, which is absolutely doable. If I was, let's say, doing 2 micros, that feel like that would feel like a 16-point loss, which is absolutely fine. So always the recommendation, just always measure the range of the swings that are happening during price to get you gauge of how you should size. So if I mention this swing point, damn, this is a 17-point swing point, I can add some size because it's not going to overly risk me out. But if I measure this swing point, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a 50-point move. Never mind, I got to size in lighter because I can get hurt. Any other questions? All right. Well, it is going to be kind of like a short class. There isn't much to talk about specifically, other than the trade recap and the reasoning behind everything that we did. It is definitely one of those scenarios where you just kind of have to remind yourself again and again. When we enter a trade, we're trying to catch the expansion, at least depending on how you're trading, right? If you're scalping, never mind this advice. But if you're trying to get a high swing point move, 100, beyond 100, ideally when you're entering, you want to be trying to catch the expansions of the hourly. So if you see a setup that's forming and confluences with hourly 4 hour, ideally you want to wait for those key ignition points where it can definitely do that, either being midnight, 9:53, or a certain model that appears in an area of confluence. Yes, this was recorded, so you guys will be able to go through it. Alright then, gang. I hope you guys have a good rest of your holiday, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.